Hey everyone! If you see a black screen, it's all good. You're supposed to see a black screen. I apologize. Hi Jess! How are you? Hello everyone! It's been a long time. It's good to be back. I'm gonna just cut right to the chase with what today's video is, just because I have very limited amount of time. My daughter is currently down for her shortest nap of the day. So I don't want to waste too much time just babbling on about things, but just to give you guys an idea of what's been going on and why I've been gone. Hello to everyone coming in. I posted on my old Twitter, for those of you who have no idea, my old Twitter that was attached to my channel that you see right here, about maybe almost 2 months ago was mysteriously hacked and deactivated. Thank you so much, Sammy, for the donation. I appreciate it. Um, was hacked and deactivated against my will. So I no longer have access to original my original not channel, but my original Twitter account. So that was where I told you guys that I was no longer doing YouTube, just because it's not, it wasn't fun for me anymore. But you know what? In the last like month and a half, almost 2 months that I've been gone, I've been missing it. I really have been. And then when the Dhavie Vanity situation and the Jeffree, Tati, and James situation was brought up once again the past few weeks. I know this is really old tea. Hello, everyone coming in. Just so you guys know, I am gonna have this on my channel, so you can watch it if you came in too late or whatever. This will be available on my channel for you to watch whenever you get a chance to. Um, but when that situation, especially with the James situation and Tati and what happened last year, over, well, just pretty much a year ago to the day, I want to say I was like 2 days ago, maybe. I had so much to say because I've always, ever since last year, I've been so outspoken about what had happened, and I feel like Jeffree was let off pretty loosely about what happened. But again, I do miss YouTube. I really do. I feel like I'm missing something, and I feel like that something is YouTube. So if I do come back, I'm still thinking about it. I'm gonna do things a lot differently, just because I have a very different schedule now. My schedule, I have a full-time job, and obviously I'm a single parent working full-time as a parent and at a job. It's hard to keep up with the YouTube channel. I miss you guys too. Thank you guys so much. But anyways, so I will let you guys know. I'm going to put my new Twitter down below for you guys when I edit this video to put it up on my channel for you guys to watch whenever you'd like to. I'll also put it up on my Instagram. So I'm going to recreate a new Twitter. I tried to get my old one back. I don't know who hacked and deactivated it. That was really shitty of them to do. But it is what it is. It goes with the territory, I guess, when you do drama videos or considered drama videos. I don't know. I don't know who did it, but whoever did it, they can come fuck themselves with a cactus. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, so let's just jump into why we're here. Because like I said, I have very limited time. So no, Sammy, they're not. Yeah, yeah, Vader's. My Twitter was hacked and deactivated, so I couldn't get. I tried so hard to work with Twitter support, but I felt like it was going nowhere, so I just gave up. So I'm gonna I made a new one. I just haven't posted it anywhere really, so I will have the information for you guys down below. All right, so this tea is old. I'm gonna be honest. It is very, very, very old. But I told you guys last week I have so many mixed feelings about everything, and I want to talk about it because I don't know. This is just it. Okay, let's just cut to it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Dhavie Vanity situation, because I feel like that is the most not important, but it is something that I've always been very sketchy about, because I'll be honest. So I'll go from the beginning. Back in MySpace days, I had an emo phase. Okay, So I knew about Blood on the Dance Floor. Did I listen to them? No. I was never a fan. I thought the music was kind of shit, but that's just my opinion. Um, but I also had a Tumblr at the time, I think maybe like a year or two later. And Tumblr back then, there were quite a few forums that were made by people who were perhaps fans of the band Blood on the Dance Floor or survivors of Dhavie Vanity's, with a situation with. I don't even want to talk. I don't want to talk about it, but it's so creepy to me and it's gross. Excuse me, and this has been talked about for so long on different forums that haven't met, the public's eye in a very long time. So I feel like this is such an important thing to talk about and not let go, because this has been let go for long enough. So if you are familiar with Vans Warped Tour, then one of the things that Jeffree mentioned in both interviews, because I watched both of them. I watched the one with Chris Hansen, and I watched the one, was it Your Mom's Basement or Mom's Basement? I don't fucking know. I watched both of them, the one with Keemstar and Chris Hansen, and to me, they were both terrible. They reminded me a lot of the Shane Dawson series with both Jeffree and Tana, where it felt like the people that Shane was interviewing were basically running the show. Like Shane really wasn't asking the hard hitting questions that should have been asked, and he was pretty much just letting them off the hook. But it is what it is in the past. These interviews reminded me of that a lot. So one of the things Jeffree mentions in regard to the Dhavie Vanity situation was I think it was along the lines of there were parents bringing their 11-year-old daughters to these shows. One of the shows that I remember Blood in the Dance for going to and being like performing at was at Vans Warped Tour. And if you've ever been to Vans Warped Tour, then you know it's a very chill. It's no longer an active event anymore, unfortunately. Um, it was a very chill setting, okay? It wasn't abnormal to see band members from A Day to Remember, my favorite band of life, walking around the fairgrounds or whatever, where we had it here, or not here in West Palm, but back in West Palm in Florida, where I would go to Vans Warped Tour. It wasn't weird to see band members just walking around and visiting tents, and you were mingling with bandmates. So that was the atmosphere. That was what it was like. Now, in regards to Blood on the Dance Floor and what's been going on, the allegations and things like that, and the stories attached to Dhavie Vanity about girls going on buses, it's when Jeffree said kind of like, how did he mention it? I want to make this. I want to make sure that I say this as close to what he says as possible, because I don't want to misquote anybody and get anyone in trouble for something they didn't do. He said something along the lines of, you had these mothers bringing their kids to these events and bringing them to these shows and walking them up to these buses and all these things. It's not the parents' fault. If he's gonna sit there and try to offhandedly kind of like push it onto the parents and be like, well, they shouldn't be bringing their 11-year-old kids to these shows or whatever, that's shitty. That's how about blaming Dhavie for being a piece of shit? He's the one coming on to these kids. Whether or not their parents are there, it doesn't matter. He knows better. He's the adult. And at the time, these kids were underage. So to me, that was a big ugh for me when I heard him say that, to try to like blame the parents for bringing their kids to these shows. Because when you're that age, I remember being that age, going to these shows was everything. It was an experience that you couldn't wait for. And so when your parents allowed you to go to these shows, it was a big deal. And I couldn't believe it when I heard Jeffree say, well, these parents are bringing these kids to these shows. There's a lot of kids at the shows. That's the thing. There's a lot of kids. It's up to obvious Dhavie Vanity to know better and be like, you know what? I shouldn't do things like this because it's a fucking child. Whatever happened. Okay? The Chris Hansen interview was a little bit done better than, in my opinion, the Mom's Basement interview. And I know that Chris mentions, I'm going to get dragged for this. I'm going to get dragged for, having this done the way I do it and everything. But I will say, I did agree with Jeffree and Chris when they mentioned, this shouldn't be about me being Jeffree. It shouldn't be about me. It should be about bringing justice for the survivors of the situation. He's absolutely correct. I will agree with Jeffree on that and Chris both. This shouldn't be focusing on Jeffree. This should be focused on the survivors and making sure they get the justice they deserve. Because what happened is disgusting. He's always been disgusting. This may be new to some of you guys, but this is something that I've known about for a very long time because I used to follow these forums on like places like Tumblr. There were even like MySpace pages made about it where people would talk about their experiences. Like this has been going for a long time. And Jeffree, I think, mentions in the Chris Hansen interview that Dhavie is still actively pursuing younger girls. So I agree with Jeffree that this should not be focused on him, but I do think that he knows more than what he's letting on, and he should have said something. Because again, the biggest point that's been brought up was exactly, Holly. The biggest point that was brought up was, okay, well, if I'd seen something, I would have reported it. Okay, well, let's just switch gears now to kind of like mold this other situation into it. Jeffree, when it came to James and Tati and the allegations that were hurled at James publicly with no proof, said the same thing. Well, if I'd seen something or if I knew something, I'd report it. And in the Mom's Basement interview, excuse me, they asked him, I forgot who it was, Clown, I think was the name they referred to him as, the only guy who was actually there to get down to the fucking business and ask the questions that should have been asked, in my opinion. He flat out asked him, do you have, a testimony by a survivor or a victim? I think he worded it as a victim at first. And it was silence. It was radio silence. Vaders, it should be about both of them. If Jeffree knows something, Vaders, and he's not saying something, then I would agree. I think he does, to be honest. Like I said just a few seconds ago, I think he does. I think he does know something, and he's not saying anything. And it's shitty that it's that way. I hated that he kept trying to be like, he should talk to this person, this person. Yes, those people were constantly around Dhavie, and they maybe saw more. But you were also close with him. You toured with him different times. I mean, okay, this is the reason why I said I wanted to come back, because this whole situation just has me fucked up. Anyways, going back to the James situation. I watched a video by Sharita is Random. I adore her. I love her. I respect her. I love her points of view. I love how fair she is. And one of the things she said in her video about the situation I watched last week was either he lied then or he's lying now, but either way he lied or something like that. And that's perfect, because I believe Jeffree Star is a fucking liar. Because this dude lies about the stupidest shit. He lied back then or now, who knows, maybe both, about not drinking. If he's willing to lie about something as stupid as not drinking, or drinking back then, saying that he was a drinker and making pictures or whatever of him drinking and getting sloshed, if he's willing to lie about stupid shit, trust me, he's willing to lie about anything. Nothing is off limits to him as far as lying. So I don't understand why he gets so upset when his name gets brought up in a situation, especially when it comes to James, when people are like, okay, well, you hurled these accusations at him publicly with no proof. Do you have any proof? Because Jeffree, remember, said last year he had proof, but he wasn't going to show it. I think it was something like that. Well, you don't have to show it to us. Show it to the authorities. That's who should be seeing it. If something is truly that bad, it shouldn't be shown to us unless you've already shown it to the authorities. Because that's who needs to take care of the situation. And in both situations, going back to Dhavie Vanity, he was around him for a very long time and worked with him again. After he already accused him of being, with children. So what is the truth? Does Jeffree have proof, but he's just not going to show it to us? and he's just going to hold on to it? Or does he not have proof and he's been lying the entire time? Either way, I think he's still lying no matter what. I don't trust that man as far as I can fucking throw him, to be honest. I will read all these comments later, guys. I'm sorry. I'll reply to them personally on the app. So, again, I fully agree with Sharita's random. I'll link her video down below for you guys. If you haven't watched it yet, I fully think you should watch it because she words it so beautifully and she goes over everything so eloquently, and I love the way she's able to put her point across. Either he lied then or he lied now, but either way, he's still lying. He knows more than what he's putting on. And what bothers me the most out of everything is that he offered to take Banks out of the room when it came to the Jeffree Star, the James Charles situation, the Tati situation. And he's like, I'll let you listen to what I have. Dude, if you have something of any substance and it backs what you've already accused James of, why would you hold on to that like that? And why wouldn't you give it to the authorities? So to me, in my eyes, whatever it is he has can't be to the level of what he accused James of being. And the fact that he tried to sit there and say, "Oh, it was all Tati's fault." No, it wasn't Tati's. It wasn't all Tati's fault. Because Tati, yes, made her video and yes, made some allegations as well. But she didn't get online on Twitter and publicly call this man out as a you-know-what and a you-know-what, a dangerous society. He's part of this. So why are you trying to pass the blame on to just Tati like it's her fault? No, you took part in it. And he says, you know what, I heard, the only reason I'm saying things like this and calling it out is because I heard from this person and I trusted this person to tell me the truth. And I had this and this person corroborate what that first person said. It seems to be a pattern of Jeffree's to make these kind of claims of, oh, I was told by someone that I trusted. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. There's a lot of comments. The fact that he trusted someone telling him these things without any proof from that person, and he went out and just publicly called James what he did without any proof to back it up, is wrong. Now, I'll play devil's advocate here. If Jeffree has something substantial and it backs up what he claimed, and survivors come forward and say, you know what, this is true. He's this, he's that, and this is the experience I had, and they have proof to back it up, then I will take back everything I said about Jeffree. But until that day comes, that man accused another human being of some pretty serious things with no proof, and that's not okay. And it seems like Jeffree, for whatever reason, can get away with whatever the fuck he wants unscathed, without any repercussions. And I don't get it. I don't understand why he seems to get in and out of all this drama. Like, this man is always in something. But he gets away unscathed, even though, especially, I will say, when it comes to Dhavie Vanity, was he a main band member? No. No, he wasn't. He just toured with these people. But I do think that he knows more than he's saying. But when it comes to James, he was fully involved. And it's not okay. It's not okay. And it's not okay to sit there and say, you know what? I'm also going to be, this was the other big point that kind of made me laugh. He had the audacity to sit on camera on the podcast and say, we have these drama channels who will, speak about these situations and not gather everything and not present everything correctly. Yes, there are some channels who do that. I agree. But not all of them do. Not all of them do. And the other thing he says is, like, how dare they, have monetary gain from all this. They make money off of this. They don't care. Dude, are you serious? Because you're, friends with one of the biggest, Rich Lux. Aren't they, still friends? I don't know. I haven't been on Twitter in a long time, so I don't know if they interact still, but isn't he, best friends with Rich Lux, who's, one of the, arguably, I can't talk today, one of the biggest drama channels because of his affiliation with Jeffree Star? But you're going to sit there and talk shit about drama channels when the biggest one is in your pocket? So, so much of what was said in these interviews was bullshit. Jeffree, to me, in my opinion, and I want to just reiterate something. Everything I'm saying in this in this video is my opinion. These are my viewpoints. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to disagree with me. You are free to form your own opinions, free of judgment on my end. We all have different views, different strokes paint the world. But Jeffree is a master manipulator. A master manipulator. And he has proved it time and time again. And I do agree that when it comes to Dhavie, he shouldn't be the main focus unless he has something that could potentially put Dhavie away for good. Okay? I don't know if he does. He claims that he knows things. He claims that he has things. Once again, he's always saying he has things, saved on his phone. If he has these things, and once again, there are things that are substantial enough that could put someone away for their wrongdoing, why wouldn't you report that to the proper authorities so that the survivors of Dhavie, especially Dhavie, can get the justice that they deserve? Because that is what this is ultimately about. I am so glad that this story is finally getting some traction, because this has been, like I said earlier, this has been on the back burner for so long. For so long. And I cannot imagine being a survivor and, living day in and day out knowing that someone knows something but won't say anything. Maybe they're not ready to say it themselves, so they're hoping that someone does. Jeffree could be that person if he has something substantial. If he has something that could put Dhavie away, show it to the proper authorities. If not, then it is what it is. But we need to focus on the main point of this, which is obviously Dhavie, his wrongdoings, the nasty shit that he did, and bringing the survivors justice, with or without Jeffree's help. And it looks like it's going to be without Jeffree's help. So that's that on that. But to close off the James and Tati situation, again, Jeffree is a master manipulator. He knows the right things to say to his audience. He knows his audience very well. And it was funny. The other thing that made me laugh in the Mother's Basement interview was that he accused James's audience of being the most volatile, which is laughable to me. Because if you are someone who is, well, anyone, whether you are a content creator or just a viewer of another content creator, and you are someone who has been in and around the drama community or the beauty community for any length of time, you know that Jeffree has the most toxic fan base I've ever seen out of any creator. Any creator, bar none, to me. In my opinion, that's how I feel. The worst. And to hear him say James's audience, they're volatile, they're volatile, and they just want to start this and this, that, and that, and they're so mean, and have you met your audience? You lead them on and let them do the dirty work. Like, if you don't like someone, you let them know. It may not be directly by saying, I don't like this person, but you know to respond back to certain comments or like certain comments that fuel people's obsession with being on attack mode of certain people in your favor. I've seen it. We can all sit here and say, well, yes, I understand as a content creator, do we have control of what our audiences do all the time? No. But I know better than to sit online and, if I have beef with somebody, I'll handle it myself. I don't need to have thousands of people back me up. I don't need that shit. So I'm not going to go online and just like tweets directly, saying shit about someone that's really rude without me speaking up myself and saying something to that person, if privately or publicly. Jeffree does that. So it just, I don't understand why Jeffree's audience, especially, allows this man to get away with so much. They make excuses for the things that he does every single time. And if you dare say anything wrong about him or say something that doesn't put him in a good light, you're automatically on the chopping block. And that's just the way it is. But I feel like the tides are turning. And I feel like Jeffree's luck is running out. Because he's been lucky so far to not be caught in anything substantial as far as drama that puts him in a negative light. There have been a lot of things that I have seen him in a negative light for. The racist bullshit that continues. His nastiness. That to me is all shitty. It's one of the reasons why I don't fucking support the guy. But I think the tides are turning. And I don't think he's going to be the shining star that he portrays himself as. Because if you watched the Mother's Basement interview, he says on there, I'm my own rock star or superstar or whatever. I'm in my own lane. He really, really, really thinks highly of himself. He believes he's untouchable. And up until this point, he has been. But I don't think it's going to last that long. I really don't. So, Vaders, I don't see what your theory was. I'll go back and read it and respond to it. So yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that the Dhavie situation is being brought to light again. I'm hoping that because names like Jeffree are connected to it, even if it's just, for association with this person in the past, I'm hoping that it shines a brighter light and that Jeffree's celebrity does make this, does make this into something that gets taken care of quickly. Not so much to benefit Jeffree, obviously, because he's irrelevant. At least in the situation, at least he wants you to believe he is, and maybe he is. But again, the fact that he says he has things or he knows things or he's seen things, but doesn't want to say exactly what those things are, all he'll say is, I haven't seen anything illegal. Okay, well, you also lie a lot, so what are we supposed to believe? We're supposed to believe what you say? I don't think so. But I'm hoping that because of his association with this, that this gets brought to a bigger audience of people who can possibly help these survivors get the justice they deserve. And in regards to James, he's thriving. And I'm so happy that he is thriving. I'm so happy that he was able to bounce back. He has an amazing, from what I've seen and what I've heard from other people who have watched it. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm so busy. But he's got that amazing YouTube series, Instant Influencer, I think it's called. And it's doing very, very well. He's thriving. He's absolutely thriving. And I know he did post something on Twitter, I think it was, a year later, looking back at what happened last year with Jeffree and Tati. And I'm so glad that things didn't get to the point for him personally and mentally where he kind of alluded to something bad happening last year that could have happened last year. I'm so glad it didn't. Because it's just a sad situation. It really is, to watch someone like Jeffree and Tati especially. But Jeffree is one of, if not the most influential, one of the most influential people on YouTube. And when that man says jump, millions of people jump. And the situation last year with James was a shining example of that. And you know what's even more fucked up to me is the fact that to this day, people, I've seen on Instagram, I've seen on Twitter, when I had my old account, I've seen on YouTube comments on some of James's videos, people are still calling him predator, calling him a danger to society. They're also now tagging in other more serious things. And who's to blame? Who started it, inspired all of this? Jeffree. In my opinion, it was Jeffree. Because guess who was the first one to go out there and say publicly, hey, you're this, you're that. It wasn't Tati. It was Jeffree with no proof. And now he's still, to this day, being talked to like he is a predator and called those names. It's just gross. That is the influence that man Jeffree has on the community. And that is the influence that I'm hoping is done with soon, because I don't think we need negativity anymore. And I feel like he's just a very negative person, but that's just my opinion. So, um, thank you, everyone who came to check out my live stream. Um, I'm going to try and kind of, um, I'm going to try to dip my toes back into YouTube. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it easier on myself and not force myself to make a video about everything. Because no one needs to see 1,000,001 videos about the same subject with the same viewpoints across 10 different channels. We don't need that. Um, but I definitely wanted to sit down and talk about this because I just, especially when it comes to the Dhavie Vanity situation, like I said, I've known about this situation for a very, very long time. I mean, Tumblr back then was filled with people who were like giving experiences of what they went through with Dhavie or band members, um, people in the community back then. It's something that has been talked about for a very long time. So again, I'm hoping that if Jeffree does anything or his involvement does anything, it allows this to be brought to an even bigger light to where people can get justice they deserve. So that's that on that. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm sorry it was so late for some of you, or early for some of you. Hopefully you guys are all okay. I know these are weird times right now. Everyone's stuck at home and probably, I'm probably miserable and just ready to get out. Um, I'm supposed to be in Florida right now, but it's not happening. So I feel your pain. But I hope that you guys are all safe and staying home and trying to keep busy. And like I said, I will have all my new social media information down below for you guys. So if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me there. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and tuning in and joining me. Again, I'll be reading comments and responding back to them on the app on YouTube. But until next time, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.